All right, Nick Fury. Fury? Do you say furry or fury? Oh my god. That would be a great funny animal character. Nick Fury. Why? Oh my god. Oh my god, I just thought of that. Of course, you got Peter Porker, the spectacular. Oh my, somebody was watching this as an ASMR video, just went like, holy fuck. Volume, volume. You got Peter Porker, the spectacular Spider Ham, but has he ever teamed up with Nick Fury? What would Nick Fury be? Probably a panda bear, maybe? A panda bear with an eye patch? Or what would be black? A black bear these days? So, Steranko. And we got a bunch going on here that's not really, I'm not loving. You got a whole bunch of spine ticks along the edge here. Some are advancing into tears. You got some damage along the bottom. You got some bending there. You got a couple of bends here. I could probably move that one back. If I can get it, there you go. You get some blunting along that whole edge, that whole side. You got a little bit of a wrinkle in there. See, we're getting spoiled because a lot of the, you get these same kids here. Again, those pictures were up 1942. Oh, you got a little bit of a tick there. Can you see it? See it? Boom. Right there. Pages are okay. Is this Steranko or did he just do the cover? No, it's Steranko. It will probably be a big old centerfold. Yep, see, told you. Bum-ba-da. Look at all of that stuff going on. See, the problem is you get like these big splash pages today. Modern comic books have like maybe an average of 3 or 4 panels to the page. And you'll have 3 or 4 splash pages per issue. But there won't be much going on. It would be like just Nick, or it would be like just this guy. Here you got a lot going on, a lot to look at. You might spend a moment. Excuse me. I'll edit out that burp. No, I won't. I'm going to leave it. Fuck you. You don't like it. Go watch somebody else's channel. I don't care. Look, I'm Will Eisner. Who is Scorpio? Who is John Galt? I don't know. All right, so as we said, we got a lot going on here. Can I get away with calling this a 5? A very good find? Probably not. You got too many tears there. I wouldn't go so far as to call it a 4, even with this bend here and that little dudut there. Somebody might call that a 5. I'm going to call it a 4 or 5. Probably because, it's the first issue. I want to go a little more conservative because somebody's going to be buying it for an investment, and that's going to make them super picky. And if I call it a 5, they're going to say it's a 4. If I call it a 4 or 5, they're going to be like, all right, it's 4 or 5, fine. Yeah, I guess I'll call it. I could call it a 5. I really could. I'm not going to, though. I'm going to call it a 4 or 5. 4 or 5. I bet that main accent there for you there, chummy. How you like that? Wicked good. Rifleman. Johnny Crawford. Wonder whatever ever became of Johnny Crawford. We'll have to look that up. This is a beautiful book, though. Look at that. Not a single, well, except for those two. And that one and that one. And that one and that one. But other than those 7, not a single spine tick. Golden Magazine for boys and girls. Oh, there's some mind control bullshit right there. Some indoctrination, I betcha. Do you remember, what was the thing that used to be in the dentist's office? Highlights? You remember with Goofus and Gallant? Do you remember that? You probably don't. You're like, Grandpa, cut that shit. Oh, look at this. So this is the actual Rifleman. This is not a 4-color. So this is Rifleman number 19, 1964. And we have the statement of ownership. And unlike the one we looked at a few minutes ago that just had the 12-month average, this one's broken down a little bit more. So we've got the print run, the actual paid circulation, by subscribers, and then sales through vendors. So 12-month average, 244,696 copies sold on newsstands, 12,800 subscribers. So this book had more subscribers than some books have sales today. Than a lot of books have sales today. Although look at this. From the 12-month average to the single issue nearest to the filing date, our subscriptions cratered from 12,800 down to 5,618. So what that tells me is they ran some big promotion when this series first started, because this is issue 19. And around that 12th month, a lot of people did not renew. Because our sales on the newsstands don't fall quite so much, 244,000 to 236,000. It's 658 copies given away. So that was a lot of sales. A Rifleman doesn't, well, actually I was going to say he doesn't look a lot like him, but he kind of does here. And it's not too bad there either. It looks like he's about 90-year-old Paul Newman there, but what was the Rifleman's name? Connor? Bart Connor? Oh, Chuck Connor. I was close. I was so close. That's a funny thing about these Gold Key books, and it's probably contractual, but they always had to put the actor's name right on the cover, which in a lot of cases kind of destroyed the image. Well, not destroyed it, but you just made it less compelling. The man with the gold gun. So, you got a few ticks, tickety-tickety-tick, but otherwise nice and tight, nice and clean. Back cover's nice, very few ticks. Oh, a little 1/4-inch tear I didn't see there the first time. A little blunting there I didn't see the first time. So, I can probably still call that an 8, though. Because all told, you probably don't have maybe 8 or 10 things, different things you could actually count up. I mean, I was exaggerating when I said 7 ticks there. I'm going to call that an 8. I could call it an 8.5. But I'm not going to, just because of that little tear there. So, where am I? Oh, I need another board in my box here to the side. So we're going to call that an 8. 8, Rifleman number 8. Oh, I forgot to write down the issue number. What did I say it was? 19? 19, which is probably closing in on at or near the last issue, I bet. How long do you think the Rifleman lasted as a comic book? And did it last longer than the TV show? You want to look? Let's look. Let's look! So, Rifleman, boom! Rifleman, 2 to 12. So the first issue was probably something of 4-color. And then they, oh, no. So 2 to 12 from, I don't know if you can see that. 2 to 12 from Dell, and then you had the Dell Western split, so it continued on as a Gold Key book, which was the publishing imprint of Western Publishing, Gold Key, or as we noted in one of these other videos, or in this video, but I'm going to chop it up, so other video, direct sales to department stores and whatnot were Western. Same book though, Gold Key and Western, same thing, just different logos, so they knew where the book, they could track it. So it went to 13 to 20. So this is the penultimate issue. Ran from 60 to 64. So now let's look. Rifleman. Boom, boom. Television. Rifleman. Wikipedia. Ran from 58 to 63. So, the last episode was April 8, 63. The last comic book was July 16th, 64. So the comic book did outlast the TV show. Interesting. Interesting. Oh, and I don't know if I ever finished that thought, but obviously the first issue of the Dell was in the 4-color line. And then when it became its own series, it picked up at number 2, which they did sometimes, as we talked about in the Lone Ranger video. All right, 77 Sunset Strip. I have no idea what this is. Oh, I know Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. He was the guy that invented the warp drive in Star Trek. He was! Look it up. Google it. Is that Ephraim? They don't tell you who that is. Probably is. I doubt it's Roger. Or Kooky. Kooky or Koki? Probably Kooky. Stu Bailey uncovers the truth. Who the hell is Stu Bailey? Would that, if I saw that on the newsstand, would that like excite me? Just that little sunburst? And then Stu Bailey uncovers the truth? Would I have been like, oh man, I gotta pick that up and look at that. I gotta figure out who Stu Bailey is. What the hell did he uncover? It was Stu Bailey though, so it was probably something interesting. Oh, look, a little tick there. Boing. More than a tick, it's a chip. And we got a few spine ticks. And, oh, I'm down to 10% battery remaining. I don't know if we're going to get through the rest of this stack. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. So, yeah, I'm going to call this a 7.5. That's kind of too deep. Those are too deep to make it an 8. There aren't that many of them, but and with the chip and with the little, I don't know if you can see that. That wants to be a chip right there. I'm going to call this a 7.5. But see, this is what I was talking about earlier with the I Spy. Apart from being kind of not very dynamic art, who does that look like? What actor does that look like? I almost said his name, and then as soon as I started to say it, and a modern actor, not like Matt Damon? No, that's not it. Not an actor from the show, but a modern actor that kind of looks like it. I almost said his name, and as soon as I started to say it, I lost it. The reason I picked this up, though, was to say, okay, so the art is not particularly dynamic, and then you have these stupid square word balloons. And that totally, as a kid, that totally turned me off. Because it just looks so dumb. Like a caption box with a pointer on it. I don't know. As a kid, that just, it literally pissed me off. I was easily annoyed as a child. What can I say? But, and this may be mechanical lettering. It sort of looks like it is. Now, it's not a font. When I say mechanical lettering, what they would do is instead of being hand lettered, meaning I take the pen and I draw on the page, but they would have this thing where you would trace like a cutout of the letter, cut out into plastic or something, and then there would be this mechanical arm with a pen on the page, so you would, do your letter tracing the cutout, and it would do it on the page. Although actually there's enough variation here that this could be hand lettered. But between often the mechanical lettering and those dopey square boxes and the fairly static artwork, like that's not, and you see from How to Draw Comics the Marvel way, you'd be leaning right into them and kind of falling out of the panel. And so anyway, I'm going to call this a 7.5. That was a long way to go for that, I know. I'm sorry. So 7.5. Now, Space Family Robinson. Oh, you know what? I didn't get the issue number out of this one. See, some of these I wrote them down before I took them out of the bag, because I had to open up the book to get the issue number. So that's 77 Sunset Strip number 2, and this is Space Family Robinson number 28. 1968, so I think this probably outlived the TV show too, although I don't feel like looking it up. So here's the story with this. If you don't know, Space Family Robinson was a comic book. And the production company basically stole the idea to make Lost in Space. And so the comic book company basically, well, not basically, they did sue. I don't know if it was in court or out of court settlement or so they sued, like, copyright infringement. And so as part of the settlement, because the TV show was so popular, part of the settlement included that the Space Family Robinson comic book could use Lost in Space on its covers, even though it's not really based on the TV show at all, really, for the most part. It got to use that sort of subtitle with the presumption that that was going to help its sales. So the TV show was based on the comic book, and then the comic book named itself after the TV show. That's a really nice looking back cover, though. Nice and bright colors, nice gloss. The white is nice and white. There's really 1968. That's as old as I am, just about. And there's no fading on that at all. And the inside's nice and tight. Oh, look at that. Get yourself a little musical comic book. That's exciting. Can you hear the sound of my voice? How excited I am? Oh my. So you want some gold key jokes? All right. Riddle: what is the difference between a running man and a running dog? Answer: the man wears trousers and the dog pants. Get it? The dog pants? That's a good joke. Where should a dressmaker make her shop? Okay, well, that's sexist, assuming the dressmakers are her. On the outskirts of the city. Get it? Outskirts. That's actually a good joke. These are dad jokes. You say they're kid jokes, but they're really dad jokes. These are kids sending in jokes they heard their dads tell. So anyway, nice and tight. Couple of ticks. Nice and tight corners. Minor blunting there. Very nice. Nice colors. Nice gloss. Nice and white. Well, this one sees kind of a combo. This one actually has some actual word balloons. I'm gonna call that an 8 as well. 8.5? Nah, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ticks. Few too many. I'm gonna call it an 8. All right, Silver Surfer. This is the newest book in this pile.